Yeah, it's a weird question for all of you, and I'm open to suggestions here, but is irresponsible the right word? Irresponsible. I don't think so. And when I say I don't think so, I'm thinking you might then say, you're defending your own industry, Ward. You are defending your own. You are completely biased in this. And you know what? If you say that, I'm going to accept that. For right now, I'm going to see irresponsible as a little much. I'm going to just suggest for now, ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. My industry is absolutely ridiculous. And I can't remember, I'm trying to think of another time of another player. You can do this for yourself. When you have, again, my industry, the indictment is of my industry. And I don't think this is necessarily, like I said, I don't think it's irresponsible. So I don't think this is terrible. But let's make an observation. I can't remember the last athlete, although Caitlin Clark might be it. I'm going to throw that one out there. We can kick it around. Where across the board, universally, you could say, oh my gosh, the media industry is fawning over that player, fawning over that athlete, to the point that you would say it's pretty ridiculous. Does Caitlin Clark qualify? She might, but to be fair, she's earned it. Remember, part of this is, we're going to take irresponsible out of it for now. Part of this is about being ridiculous. And I don't think the praise of Caitlin Clark, I mean, she dominated her sport and she is the face of the industry and has earned it. So I don't think it's that ridiculous, but maybe you do. Tim Tebow comes to mind to an extent, and I'm trying to remember back in those days. Now, I will tell you this about Tim Tebow as a football player. He is one of the most dominating college players of all time. Not a pro player because he didn't have the skills to be a pro. And I do remember being in the world of talk radio where he was idolized by a lot of people, on the far right. He didn't ask for it himself necessarily. And I do remember being critical, and I do remember saying, he's not that good as a pro. It's just not going to work. And it didn't work. But I mean, he was fawned over, but there were also some critics in there too. So I don't know if that qualifies. I'm trying here. I'm trying to find somebody that you could say the media space is absolutely gushed, absolutely sucked up across the board. You guys are being ridiculous. Fawning over a player, I don't think is a good look. And I can't think of another one to this level, like Arch Manning. No, none of it is his doing. I feel like I'm going to always have to present this way. And that is, the guy has even said, the kid has said publicly, I don't deserve any of this. I haven't done anything yet. So he's not asked for it. His head coach, Steve Sarkisian, that I can think of, has asked for the attention, has asked for the fawning. I don't think there's anybody to blame in the Manning family. I don't think there's anybody to blame at Texas for the media industry's absolute, over-the-top, grotesque fawning. So maybe you disagree. The media space wants him to be the best player in the sport. I shouldn't say wants him to be the best player in the sport. The media industry has decided he's the best player in the sport. I mean, and it's ridiculous. It's already ridiculous, and it's August. My industry not only wants him to be the best player in the sport, thinks he's the best player in the sport, on the best team in the sport. And I got to be fair. I don't know that I'm going to blame people for being, I assume the sort of the Texas animosity is going to grow and grow and grow. And that's because, for pretty good reason, people are going to get sick of it. Not individual players. They're not that petty. But before long, because with the praise and the fawning over Arch Manning and expecting him to be the best player in the sport, comes the expectation that automatically means Texas is the best team in the sport. They might be, to be fair, they might be. But you can see how people get sick and tired of it. They also, my industry has already decided he's not just winning the Heisman Trophy, he's going to run away with the Heisman Trophy. My industry has already decided that he's going to be the first pick in the draft. And every month, almost every week, I'm more amazed how far the space has gone. My space. He started 2 games. Got it? He started 2 games. He's thrown 90 passes. He even says, before you get whiny with me, he even says, I haven't done anything yet. But that's not stopping us. Let's see where to start. How about, shockingly, Paul Feinbaum, who's on, 9 minutes before me. Shockingly, he has decided that not only is he the best player since Tim Tebow, he's going to be a runaway Heisman winner, and I assume he might think Texas is going to run away with the championship too.
Come on, you know what the answer is. It's Arch Manning. And here's why. It's not because I'm in love with the guy. It's because he's going to win that first game on the biggest stage in college football this year. And all of a sudden, it's going to go from Arch Mania to it's going to transcend the sport of college football. And he has so many other big moments during the season. And the Heisman is often won by those moments. It doesn't matter what the position is. It matters what kind of hype you get. So when he has other games later in the season, like at Georgia, and if he should win those games, he's going to move on to New York very effectively and easily.
Okay, there's that. Yes, the award goes to the most celebrated player on the most celebrated team. That's the way it is. It doesn't mean you're the best player. Next up is, I said this weeks ago about the talk about his draft status, the talk about where he would go in the NFL draft. And I wondered, I didn't know an answer then. I didn't have an opinion necessarily one way or another then, but I'm starting to form one now. And I think his grandfather may have already done this. And that is, at what point does Arch Manning himself, the Manning brand, which is giant, and or the University of Texas say, listen, this is dominating the cycle. It's dominating the space. It's dominating the oxygen. Could somebody tell everyone he's not going to declare for the NFL draft? I don't know when that needs to happen. I don't think it has to happen now, but it just did. But at some point I could see where they'd be in a position of saying, listen, let me be clear about this. I'm not going anywhere for a while. Well, his grandfather either did that intentionally or unintentionally, but of course my space, being as ridiculous as we are right now, have taken this and run. You want some examples of how far we've gone already in August? How about this? Yahoo Sports. Bombshell from Arch Manning's granddad just blew up Browns and Saints 2026 draft plans is the headline. Are you freaking kidding me? What? That was at like noon today. It's not his fault. It's not the Manning's fault. It's not his uncle's fault. It's us. We are... In my business, of course, you want storylines. You want interesting storylines. You want compelling storylines. No doubt about it. I cannot remember an athlete that has had the wishful thinking, the absolute full-on obsession with he's going to be the greatest ever. I mean, we are so wanting it. Bombshell from Arch Manning's granddad just blew up Browns and Saints 2026 draft plans. Are the Browns and the Saints going to suck next year? Suck enough to be the first pick in the draft? They might, because they almost always suck. That's true. Did they haven't played a game either, just so you know. I mean, so we've already got them as the number one pick of the draft, and we've already got him as the first pick of the draft until his grandfather blew it. Oh. Now, the Mannings are used to, well, they're not used to this, but the Mannings are certainly used to hype. They've lived in that space for a long time. They can handle it. It's not going to throw anybody off. The grandfather lived in the space. But at some point, you got to admit it's just too much. So here goes. This is Yahoo now. If the Cleveland Browns and New Orleans Saints fans hoped their team would get Arch Manning in next year's draft, his granddaddy has some bad news for you. This will be Longhorns quarterback Arch Manning's first season as the full-time starter of the program's offense. Please understand, he's played 2 games against terrible teams. Brandon could quarterback Texas to a double-digit win over the teams that he's played against. And I'm not saying the kid doesn't have some skills. He does. But you've got to be kidding me. He didn't beat Ohio State a year ago. He didn't play. He beat directional schools from right down the road by the snake farm. But here we go. Most expect him to jump to the NFL next year to be the number 1 pick. Most? I don't. Who's most? Most of you expect him to go to the NFL, be the first pick in the draft? You do? Would you like to bet on that some? The Browns and Saints are the early favorites to be in position to draft the nephew of NFL greats Peyton and Eli Manning. However, their father, Hall of Famer Archie Manning, delivered some bad news for Cleveland and New Orleans. Quote, this is from Texas Monthly. Arch isn't going to do that. He'll be at Texas. And then the collective freak out. All right, well, there's that part. I don't know if that's exactly, I guess, does that do what I asked, and that is put the whole issue to rest? Now, I've said before, at the risk of getting over my skis as well, because I would say more than pump the brakes, you need to check yourself entirely. But if you're going to be the first pick in the draft, I think if you're going to be the first 5 picks in the draft, you go. It's insane, in my opinion, not to go to the NFL if you believe and you've been given information that you will be among the first 5 picks in the draft. I think you're crazy. Qualification. Okay? They have money. He has money. He's making more money and will continue to make even more money. And he's got perspective. Okay? So if there's anybody that's in a position to say, I don't need that now, even though I still think you might go if you're in that spot. But if there's anyone at any time, because historically, these are different times. This is probably going to be at least a $10 million a year guy. He's a $10 to $20 million a year brand. That's true. And that's the name. And that's the look. And that's the fact that he's playing at Texas. So that's nowhere near what you would make in the NFL draft. Your first year, your first deposit, you're going to be taking home probably $30 million. So it's far from that. But still, it's a lot. It's a lot. But I've told you before, he has perspective other people don't have. He knows what the NFL is like. He's seen it up close. So he has perspective no other player has on how good or not good he could be. So those are factors, and that I do think he's a rarity. Rarity in a guy that could say, not right now. Okay? All of the quarterbacks in his family knew enough to know enough where not to go in the NFL draft if they could help it. His uncle did it. So there is perspective. I get it. I don't know if this is enough if this ends the debate at all. I'm not sure. Because I have a scenario that if whoever the first pick in the draft, whoever it is, whether it's him or Cade Klubnik, whoever the first quarterback is in next year's draft, I have a scenario for you that is really appealing, that would make you want to go, that would make it desirable, more than just the money. And that is, for once, I think there might be a team in the market for a quarterback, right away in the market for a quarterback, that is not a lousy, horrible, dysfunctional franchise. There could be, in fact, I think will be, a franchise that is well run with a great coach that is going to be in the market for a quarterback. And anybody, whether your name is Klubnik, Nussmeier, Ward, Manning, you would want to go there. I think there's a setup. And if you thought they wanted you, you would be foolish to wait. But that's a long way away. So what else do we have? We have the Sporting News preseason All-America team. Sporting News is respectable. This is the first of many. Sporting News, I looked at all the selections. The Sporting News has picked some very successful players, picked players that have been very successful last year, picked players off of really good teams, some players, really good players on bad teams, but I can't think of anybody who's only played 2 games. There's no one on this list that's played 2 games. Cade Klubnik at Clemson, a very good team. And when we last left Cade Klubnik at Clemson, he was in Austin, and he was the best quarterback on the field, lighting up. I mean, playing off the charts against a really, really good Texas defense. If you were writing checks to a future quarterback, you would take a look at that video and say, that kid just played against arguably the best secondary in college football and was the best player on the field. There's nothing more he could do to prove that he's a really, really good player, a pro player. He's not the first team All-American quarterback. No. I bet you've asked Texas, all those guys would say that's a really good quarterback over there. But no, he is not the Sporting News preseason All-American quarterback. The SEC, by the way, had 23 players. Ohio State, Clemson, Alabama each had 2 players on the first team of the Sporting News 2025 preseason All-America team. The quarterback for the preseason All-America team is not Klubnik, who is back for his 3rd year starting. It's Arch Manning. Like I said, I don't know if this is irresponsible. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Says Manning is worth all the hype. Manning is worth all the hype. He is? I don't know. Maybe he is. He might be. I don't know yet. Do you know? He doesn't even know. 939 yards passing and 9 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. You know, Cade Klubnik had almost half that in 1 game. But it's not Arch Manning's fault. It's not. He didn't do this. He didn't ask for it. His coach didn't do this. His coach didn't ask for it. And I'm sure they probably would pick someone else given the chance, like probably every other college player right now. That's how ridiculous things are, and that's how ridiculous things are going to get. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if you throw, 250, if he throws for 250 against Ohio State? I didn't say 400. 250. Can you imagine what this world is like? The hype? Oof. Got to pace ourselves. Now, back to that thing about a player. Can you think of anybody that has been fawned over to this level? And he's a likable guy. Everything is there that you want to like, right? It's all good. There's no downside that we know of. Except maybe he can't play. I don't know. But I can't remember a time that across the board it's been like this. Here's what I want you to keep in mind. If you're injured by the negligence of someone else or you have any sort of issue with the insurance company, I can tell you this from experience. You need DJC Law. And I can tell you, having been a client of theirs, they will do 3 things. They'll take care of every single detail. You'll get peace of mind working with them, and you will get the result you deserve. That's the way it works with DJC Law. Check out teamjustice.com, and you'll see thousands of 5-star reviews. Look, the bottom line is, and trust me on this, the bottom line is if you're injured by the negligence of someone else, fighting with the insurance companies for any reason, you need DJC Law, and Dan Christensen and his team of lawyers at DJC Law have a remarkable track record. Go to teamjustice.com or call 512-888-9999. That's 512-888-9999.